Now, let's take this guidance for standard 3C, 3D, and 3E. Okay. So
Sure.
we are starting with suitability. So standard 3C suitability, when members and candidates are in advisory relationship with a client. So suppose there's a CFA professional and he gives advices to his clients. Okay, he has advisory relationship to a client, or he's a consultant. Let's say he has a firm, consultancy firm. So first of all, what they need to do is they must make a reasonable inquiry into clients or prospective clients investment experience. That means how, like, the whether the client is someone who is very new to this investment, and whether he's been investing his money like since the previous past, or he has just started the investment, or he's a novice to all these investments, etc. Risk and return objectives, that is what is his objective, how much risk he can take, and what kind of returns he is expecting, and financial constraints prior to making any investment recommendation. That means how much money he has and how much he can invest. The members or candidates cannot like force or give some suggestions whereby it is not suitable for the client. Okay, that's what is the suitability all about. What suits the client is what, or what under, like under taking into consideration all the aspects, his limitations and his comfort zone, how much he can invest, how much he is eligible to invest, or how much like comfort how much money he can comfortably invest, all these things, and his risk appetite, and his how much risk he can take or absorb, or the returns what he is expecting from those investments, etc. All these things have to be assessed. Okay, now then any kind of action can be taken. So determine, point number B is determine that an investment is suitable to client's financial situation and consistent with client's written objectives, mandates. So what he wants and what he thinks is mandatory for him, as far as as of now, and constraints before making any an investment recommendation or taking investment action. Judge the suitability of investments in the context of client's total portfolio. So when members and candidates are responsible for managing a portfolio to a specific mandate, that means what the client needs, or strategy or style, they must make only investment recommendations or take only investment actions that are consistent with the stated objectives and constraints of the portfolio. That means what suits the client, that kind of portfolio the members and candidates should make if they are in an advisory relationship, or that, or the recommendation should, whatever recommendations they give should suit the client. Okay, and whatever the portfolio they make, that should be something which the client desires. Now in advisory relationships, members must gather client information at the beginning of the relationship. That means they have to make an investment policy statement, IPS, in which they have to record everything about the client's needs and the circumstances in which he is into, how much comfortably he can he can invest. Okay, his risk tolerance, his or her risk tolerance levels, consider whether or not the use of leverage is suitable for the client. That means whether they want to take debt for investments. Okay, what is the, see, with leverage what would happen is you can enjoy more returns, but you know it's very risky at times even. Correct. Now
Yes. Yeah.
if a member is responsible for managing a fund to an index or other stated mandate, he must select only investment that are consistent with the stated mandate. That means if suppose I go to a chartered financial analyst and I ask him like I want some investment which should be linked with some index, so that kind of requirement they should take into consideration and give me or make a portfolio of such kind which suits my uh, like uh, which matches with my requirement. Now, unsolicited trade request. See, an investment manager may receive a client request to purchase a security that the manager knows is unsuitable. Suppose I ask my investment manager to buy some security, but that is not suiting me, which my investment manager knows that it's going to affect or will have an impact on my returns, or I may it will be a loss making trade for me. Okay, because it doesn't match with my IPS, investment policy statement. So the trade may or may not have a material effect on risk characteristics of the client's total portfolio, and the requirements are different for each case. In either case, however, the manager should not make the trade until he has discussed with the client the reasons that the trade is unsuitable for the client's account. Now, the investment manager should discuss with the client that this doesn't suit you, but if the client is insisting, the investment manager cannot do anything, correct? So first they should give the reasons, like this is not suitable for you, and we are definitely giving you valid reasons that you should not go for such kind of trade, because it doesn't is not based on the IPS what we have made for you. But what, like, if the client is insisting and forcing, then what can be done, correct?
Yes.
But they should bring to the notice of the client that the things are not good for the client. Okay. So if the manager determines that the effect on risk or return profile of the client's total portfolio is minimal, the manager, after discussing with client how the trade does not fit the IPS goals and constant, may follow his firm's policy with regard to unsuitable trades. See, if it's not going to impact that much, then that's okay. But if it's going to impact badly, uh, then definitely some action need to be taken. Okay. Regardless of firm policy, the client must acknowledge the discussion and an understanding of why the trade is unsuitable. That means client should also like have a discussion. If the trade would have a material impact on risk return profile of the client's portfolio, one option is to update the IPSC. If the client is still insisting and the client, so you can take some inputs from the client, whether you are ready to accept this kind of risk. So whether things have changed or your income levels have changed or what. So that kind of updation should be done to the investment policy statement. So the client accepts a changed risk profile that would permit the trade. Okay. If still they are not accepting, then some modifications can be done accordingly by assessing the situation. Now, if the client will not accept a changed IPS, the manager may follow firm policy which may allow the trade to be made in the separate client directed account. In absence of other options, the manager may need to reconsider whether to maintain the relationship with the client. If still the things are going in such a way, and if the client can blame the manager, then manager should rethink to continue with such kind of clients, and can even like try to they can think of whether to maintain the relationship with the client or not. Okay, so recommendations for members: for each client, put needs, circumstances and investment objectives into a written IPS, so that there shouldn't be any kind of blame game. Oral, don't go with oral discussions, go with the go with the written thing. Okay, write everything very clearly, what the client needs, what the client wants, what are the objectives they have, etc. Consider the type of client and whether there are separate beneficiaries, investor objectives, return and risk, investor constraints. That means what kind of client you are dealing with. Okay, and if there are some other beneficiaries to that or not, or what investor desires, or what are his objectives related to risk and return, what are the constraints of the investors, like liquidity needs or expected cash flows, time, tax and regulatory and legal circumstances, then performance measurement benchmarks. Then you should consider all these things. Review the investors' objectives and constraints periodically to reflect any changes in the client circumstances. That means updation. Standard 3D performance presentation. So when communicating investment performance information, that means when the investments have been done and the investment, whatever the investments have been done, definitely the clients would look forward for the results. Am I right? What kind of performance the investment is is making. So when communicating investment performance information, members and candidates must make reasonable efforts to ensure that it is fair, accurate and complete. So if the presentation See whatever the investments have been done by taking into consideration the client's requirements. Now the time has come whereby the performance has to be seen. Okay, and that performance need to be communicated to the like a client. So members and candidates must take reasonable efforts. They should make reasonable efforts to ensure that it is totally fair. That means not biased, and it is accurate and complete. Now, that means there shouldn't be any kind of misstatements or misguidance or misleading the clients, etc. So members must not misstate performance or mislead client for their firm's investment performance. So members should not mislead the clients and don't show them what is not the real picture. Okay, and don't give any fake assurances and fake like fake details about the investment performance. Members misrepresent past performance. Okay, they should not say I've done so and so things for my clients and I'll do the same thing for you, replicate the same thing for you. No, like you see, you may have a very good research with you. You can show them the past performance, but you cannot give them the guarantees. Am I right? For the future returns, isn't it so?
Definitely not.
Yeah. So members must not misrepresent past performance or reasonably expected performance, and must not state or imply the ability to achieve a rate of return similar to that they achieved in the past. It's not always possible. For brief presentations, members must take detailed information available on request and indicate that the presentation has offered only limited information because it was a brief presentation. Recommendation for members: encourage firms to adhere to global investment performance standards, the one in which they are working. Consider the sophistication of the audience to whom a performance presentation is addressed. Present the performance of a weighted composite of similar portfolios rather than performance of a single account. Okay, that means don't show them the best account, show them even more accounts whereby on an average what they have delivered with their strategies. Include terminated accounts as part of historical performance and clearly state when they were terminated. That means why did they discontinue with you and all. Do you think this is going to happen?
Definitely not, sir.
Very rarely, man. How will they get business then? This very cunning. The board is very cunning. They don't want any kind of allegations on them. Okay. Include all appropriate disclosures to fully explain results. Okay, like what you have charged and everything. Net of fees. Maintain data and records used to calculate the performance being presented. Standard 3E, preservation of confidentiality. Members and candidates must keep. It's very simple and easy standard to understand. They should keep the information about the current, former, and prospective clients confidential, unless some illegal activities have happened. Let's say the information concerns illegal activities on the part of the client. Some if police comes or the cops come and ask about the client's details, let's say. So that time what you can do, you have to disclose. Disclosure is required by law, or client or prospective client permits disclosure of the information by like written, they have given written assent. If illegal activities of a client are involved, members may have an obligation to report the activities to authorities. Confidentiality standard extends to former clients as well. The requirements of this standard are not intended to prevent members and candidates from cooperating with CFA Institute professional program investigation. Sorry, this standard are not intended to prevent the members and candidates from cooperating with this particular investigation program. And recommendation for members. So the intention is not to prevent the members from any investigation. Okay. Members should avoid disclosing information received from a client, except authorized co-workers who are also working for the client. Okay. That means you and your subordinates can member storage of electronic data and recommend adoption of such procedures if they are not in place. So you have to do the questions, Abhijit. Or you want me to discuss with you?
No, I'll do questions.
Okay. Now let's go for the standard number 4, loyalty. So standard number 4, duties to employers. First one is matters related to their employment. Whose employment? The members. Members and candidates must act for the benefit of their employer and not deprive their employer of advantage of their skills and abilities. Correct? Whatever skills
Yes.
they have and abilities they have, they should, with that, they should do whatever they can do best for their employer. Divulge confidential information, that means don't give the employer's information to anyone, otherwise it may cause harm to their employer. Okay, Abhijit, just a second, just wait, just a second. So this standard is applicable to employees. Okay, if members are independent contractors rather than employees, that means freelancers. Okay, they have a duty to abide by the terms of their agreements. Correct? If I am a member of the institute and I'm a freelancer, or like I am a consultant, or I'm having my own setup in office or whatever, so I'll make agreements with my clients, or let's say some company wants to take my services, so they will have make an agreement with me, definitely, so that agreement binds me and the other party, isn't it so?
Of course, yes.
So I have to abide with the terms and conditions of that agreement. Now, members must not engage in any activities that would injure the firm, deprive it of profit, or deprive it of advantage of employee skills and abilities. That means give your full-fledged support to the firm, 100% approach. Okay, never hide anything like related to your skills or what you can do good for them. Never hide that from them. That means wholeheartedly you should work for them. Members should always place client interest above the interest of their employer, but consider the effects of their actions on the firm integrity and sustainability. See, client interest first, of course, because you are working for the best interest of your client as well. Okay, what your employer wants from you is indirectly what they require from you is nothing but to do good things for clients. Correct?
Yeah, true.
Generate returns for the clients, isn't it so? Whose clients? Employers' clients. Correct?
Yes.
But consider the effects of their actions on firm integrity and sustainability. sustainability. There is no requirement that the employee just a second, Abhijit.
Yes.
There is no requirement that the employee put employer interest ahead of family and other personal obligations. Okay. Like there is no requirement. See, there's nothing like that employee should put employer interest ahead of the family and other personal obligations. It is expected that employers and employee will discuss such matters and balance these obligations with work obligations. See, employer cannot pressurize you in all the ways. It's not like you have to devote your personal life also to the employer. Till the time you work with the employer, you are like you have your duties. But when it comes to personal matters and others, employer cannot pressurize you. Correct? Things are very clear. Sorry.
Yeah, they cannot pressurize you for that.
Of course, if you want to take a holiday for some personal reasons, they cannot take pressurize you, put some pressure on you or something like that, because see, you have other obligations as well, naturally. Okay, so there may be isolated cases where a duty to one's employer may be violated in order to protect the clients or integrity of the market, then the actions are not for personal gain. So there may be some cases where a duty to one's employer, that means suppose if a member is working for an employer, so his or her duties towards the employer may be violated clients or integrity of the market. Okay, so that may be against your employer. Okay, for the client, maybe sometimes, maybe the employer doesn't want that you to do, maybe when the actions are not, but that kind of action should not be for your personal gain. Understood, no?
Of course, yeah.
So independent practice for compensation is allowed if a notification is provided to the employer fully describing all aspects of services, including compensation duration. So if you're working for your client, for your employer and services you're giving, so you clearly have the discussions with them that what you're going to charge them. And when leaving an employer, members must continue to act in the employer's best interest until their resignation is effective. Activities that may constitute a violation include misappropriation of trade secrets. So you should not share the trade secrets of your employer to another employer. Misuse of confidential information, no. Soliciting employers' clients prior to leaving. Okay, that means don't uh, try to tell them that you can offer something better than your employer and just come with those clients should be like your clients. No, don't do any kind of self dealing till the resignation is not totally effective. Misappropriation of client list, you should not give it to anyone, and employer records on any medium like home computer, tablet, cell phone are property of the firm. When an employee has left a firm, simple knowledge of names and existence of former clients is generally not confidential. So see, only names and other things are not something, but their details you should not carry and give to someone else, correct? Otherwise you will be penalized. It's illegal. There is also no prohibition on use of experience or knowledge. That means whatever the training you have got from the employer, you can use it. Gained while, because you also you also gave your valuable services to the firm, na? Gained while with a former employee. If an agreement exists among employers, example the US protocol for broker recruiting that permits brokers to take certain client information when leaving a firm, a member may act within the terms of agreement without violating the standard. That means if legally they can do, they can do. But that nothing should be violation. Okay, members and candidates must adhere to their employers policies concerning social media. When planning to leave an employer, members and candidates must ensure that their social media use complies with their employees policies for notifying clients about employee separations. That means don't put any kind of extraordinary things about the employer. That means that is not as per the agreement. You shouldn't do. Recommendation for members. Members are encouraged to give their employer a copy of code and standards. Best practice is to use separate social media accounts for personal and professional communications. That is a good recommendation. And to the firm, the recommendation is employers should not have incentive and compensation systems that encourage unethical behavior. Bijit,
Yes.
can we do till here today? I'm very tired now. Since
Yeah,
morning
yeah.
I'm working.
Audible in your voice.
Yeah, it's like
No problem.
tired, but see, I have to finish the things, so I'm committed as well to do this soon. So
Sure,
no
sure,
problem.
sure.
Tomorrow also we can have some 30 minutes or 35, 40 minutes like that session. We'll try to finish the standards. Okay. So let's
Okay.
do because I think this is the last some standards we are about to wind up. Then Gibbs will be starting Gibbs.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's do this. Responsibilities of supervisors. Members and candidates must take reasonable efforts to ensure that anyone subject to their supervision, okay, members and candidates must make reasonable efforts to ensure that anyone subject to that means whoever is supervising them or authority complies with applicable laws, rules, regulations, and code and the standards. That means whoever is supervising them should also follow the codes. Okay, I think this one. No. I think, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Additional compensation arrangements. So members and candidates must not accept, see, additional apart from what compensation you are getting. So what you're getting, you're eligible to get legally what you should get, but something apart from that, additional things like which you should not be taking. So members and candidates must not accept gifts, benefits, compensation, or consideration that competes with or might reasonably be expected to create a conflict of interest with their employer's interest. So employers doesn't want you to take all this, but you're taking and accepting and doing some favors to clients or someone else. It's not accepted unless they obtain written consent from all parties involved. So that may not happen, of course. So that is to prevent. So these kind of clause they put. So compensation includes direct and indirect compensation from a client and other benefits received from third parties. Written consent from a members uh, employer includes email communication regarding what they can accept or what. So understand the difference between an additional compensation element and a gift from a client. See, small gift of small value doesn't matter, but very big gifts or some holiday trips and all is not good. If a client offers a bonus that depends on future performance of her account, this is an additional compensation element that requires written consent in advance. So this kind of agreements the member is having with the clients, so these kind of things should be brought to the employer's notice, correct? If a client offers a bonus to reward a member for her account's past performance, okay, this is a gift that requires disclosure to members employer to comply with standard 1B, independence and objectivity. That means work independently with some objectives. If a client offers a bonus to reward a member for say past performance, you have done exceptionally well, so I'm going to give a gift for that, and that's okay. But giving a gift for future performance is something, then he'll be completely focusing on this client itself and not devoting time to others, or that may like affect his independence and objectivity, correct? But
Of
here,
course,
do
yeah.
you think it's affecting the independence and objectivity? No,
No.
because it's a past performance. Recommendation for members: make an immediate written report to employer detailing any proposed compensation and services, if additional to that provided by the employer. Okay, so they should make written report to employer detailing any proposed compensation and services, if additional to that, if employer is ready to provide. Members and candidates who are hired to work part-time should discuss any arrangements that may compete with their employer's interest at the time they are hired and abide by any limitations to their employer identifies. Recommendation from firms: details of additional compensation, including any performance incentives, should be verified by the offering party. So shall we go ahead with this tomorrow?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah, tomorrow, like whenever we sit, I think we have barely some like I think 40-minute session would would suffice this. It would be sufficient to finish this. Okay. Okay, Abhijit. Then let's finish that tomorrow. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Bye bye.